Hello and welcome to my show. I am Yana Benun from Israeli News Live and Rise Up Children of God, and I have a special guest today here in Prague. It's a scientist, physicist from Germany by name Harald Kautz Vella. And some of you might have already seen, I had an interview with him while we had a conference here. I'm not sure what the name of conference was anymore, but it was about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, something like that. But we have invited him over to Prague again, and he was willing to come to share some more of his research. Can you tell us, Harold, about your credentials? You are a co-author of what book?
You co-authored a book with
Carl St. Louis.
Okay.
That was, this is just a working relationship that was connected to geoengineering and transhumanism.
Okay.
And you work with a group of scientists, right? On what areas?
Yeah, life is strange. I started, I have a weird career. I studied science. Then I decided out of emotional reasons to become a journalist instead of a scientist.
Okay.
And then I did journalism for a while, and then I ended up in a film company, and they wanted to have documentaries. And I decided to make a documentary on inventors. And this is what brought me back to science, but from a different perspective.
Okay.
And this is kind of what brought me into exceptional research. It's not university research, it's not military research, it's not company research, it's like private researchers that go into areas that are, I like to call it fringe, but still, you know, science is about reality. So if you see something, you know, many people say, I just believe what I see, yeah, and that's it. I say, yes, I believe what I see, but if I see something, I believe it. And this is what makes the difference. If you see something, there's no way out. You have to deal with it, and if it doesn't fit into the view of the world you're in at that moment, you need to change the view of the world. And this is kind of the type of science I do. And I worked quite in a few labs, or for a few labs in Germany, dealing with free energy transmutation, so all these kind of cutting-edge technologies that are not yet part of the mainstream. And from there I derived the physics I'm running on. So, you know, university normal research is in the 3D realm, dealing with a certain field, electromagnetic field. If you really look into the interesting research, you need to get a broader picture into a 4D reality, include scalar fields, include higher realms, include multi-layered structures in space-time. Then you can grab all the fringe experience we have, like telepathy, like whatever, you know. So there is a physics designed to grab the whole picture, and it is highly scientific, and there's nothing mythological about it, but it gives you the tool to understand what people looked at in the mythological realms. You know, they had experience, whatever, religious experience, facing demons, whatever. To understand what this is all about, you can go into the science, and from the science kind of...
So science explained the demons.
Yes, this is one part of the work I've been involved.
Wow, that's interesting. And you also work a little bit, you touch medicine as well, biology and medicine,
yes,
because...
I live from medicine at the moment.
Right, because you research autism, right? The
newest one.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. So I hope we get to talk about everything. But the first subject I want to touch is black goo. And first time I heard of black goo was from you. And I remember last time we had no time to get into everything. So I watched some of your shows. They're available out there. So I heard about the black goo. And I know that a lot of people have no idea, never heard a term, never heard of such thing. What is black goo? What is it?
the easiest way to grab it is like understanding how life is created on a planet. This is, the research is coming from the lab. We did all this in the lab just by moving water enriched with carbon dioxide, seeing what happens inside the water. This is kind of transmutation research. Once you have the results in the lab, it is possible to understand what happens inside the Earth. So now we go all the way how life is created. You have subduction from the oceans, where water sediments, water-rich sediments go into the lower areas of the planet, and this water rises up again. It's lighter than stone, so it's pressed up, and it's enriched with carbon dioxide from all the biological things that are subducted as well. So we have uprising carbon dioxide enriched water. And this goes through the stone in a under high pressure, high temperature, and with a lot of vortical motions. And you can imagine like the stone is opening, closing, you know, for all these veins of water rising up. So you have like Venturi valves. So you have compression, and then it releases, which is creating cavitation fields. This is exactly the setup we use in the lab for transmutation. Okay. And in the lab, what we can observe in the lab actually is that the water and the carbon dioxide is getting into very high molecular order with the vortical flows with high speed, MHD, it's magnetohydrodynamics, so you have kind of charge separation in the water. And under these conditions, the molecules start to exchange atoms. So what you get is fulvic acid as the first basic brick of life, in a way. And this fulvic acid in this vortical motion is uniting to hydrocarbon chains. Okay. And this is all anorganic in a way. Now, what we discovered in the lab, which is not so easy to understand, that transmutation doesn't run in the table of elements, in the lines, but it runs in the rows. We transmute hydrogen to carbon to silica to gold. This is how it goes from the light elements to the heavy elements. Okay. It's just a scientific finding, you know. It's known since the 20s. Victor Schauberger was the first one to discover these lines of transmutation, to describe them, and by using his patterns and geometries and flow patterns, it's easy to reproduce the findings. So we have to deal with this. So there's no way around it. This is how it happens.
So black goo is a matter found
on Earth?
Yes. Yes, the earliest, we can find remains of all the process that kind of is leading to the creation of black goo. So if you look, for example, at mumio is found on the surface of stone in caves in the mountains. And this is kind of the early stage. It is rich in fulvic acids and has already some carbon chains. So this is kind of halfway to black goo. If you run these transmutation lines to the precious metals, then you create something that has all the physical properties to be able to carry a certain form of magnetism. Okay. So you create a liquid that has precious, monoatomic precious metals embedded in a carbon environment. And this is the basic structure of life.
So it's alive. It's a matter that is alive.
In a way, yes. So the monoatomic elements exchange light. They are photon attractors. So and these photon patterns are partly in an annihilated state. This goes into higher dimensional physics. So we have a 4D realm with this black goo inside, and we have everything that is needed to process consciousness. Yeah. You know, this bidirectional light is consciousness. And it comes out of the anorganic realm at that point. So what basically is created by upwelling water is the physical matter with the ability to carry consciousness. It is still a baby in a way, with a zero experience. Then we have the black smokers in the ocean, where this liquid comes up and goes into the oceans. Geologists say that this is where life is created, in the biosphere. So this goes into solution in the water, and you have all the precious, the monoatomic gold soluted in seawater. You have the basic carbon pieces to build up life, and this is where life is created. The consciousness carried by the black goo is immortal and holographic. Once it goes into the biosphere, it gets into rhythms, so we separate single beings and we separate generations. And you can see how like this dissolves into a time-space pattern. And then it starts to collect the experience of life. The basic physical principle is still the same. We have exchange of light between the monoatomic elements, and it forms DNA around these elements. This is the basic setup in a being. You have precious metal monoatomic gold positioned in an antenna system to deal with the bigger distances. In the black goo you don't need the antenna because everything is very dense, but in biology, you know, you need these DNA antennas, or they develop after time. And what remains basically is a system you can visualize as a mirrored thing, or as a secondary computer who mirrors things. All experience collected within the biosphere is mirrored into inner earth, where the original substance is up-concentrating in the ley lines. So you could say the planet has a planetary consciousness carrying all the experience of everything that ever happened in an immortal consciousness. At the same time, it is mirroring the consciousness of the life within the biosphere, supporting life with what we call instinct, for example. Instinct is hosted in the ley line system.
So, in that white goo, you said it's monoatomic elements inside of what is like gold and silver and iridium.
Gold, iridium, and another one.
Because I heard that, like, for example, iridium is part of our brain, like we need it for brain. But we will talk a little bit, I'm coming back to that black goo, because I saw on one of your show, the picture, I obviously had a slide with a black goo in some pot, and it was like alive, almost like waiting to get out and in the face of a person.
So this quantum magnetism that kind of gives the liquid the ability to, by magnetic forces, self-organize.
So it looked like alive, like...
It is alive.
It is alive.
Yeah, it is alive. It is conscious and alive, and it can take any form or pattern it wants to, the consciousness wants to take.
Wow.
Okay, so it has monoatomic gold. Now, when I go back to Bible, which I just recently learned about the fact what was manna. You know, people don't know what manna really was. It was coming down from heaven, and this is how God fed Israelites. And some people say that the manna was monoatomic gold because, you know, Israelites at the time didn't age and they were strong and healthy. And they say it was actually a monoatomic gold. Can you tell us a little bit about monoatomic gold? Some people take it, they call it ormus, yeah?
Yeah, it's a weird subject because you have to be very careful with the qualities.
That's important because a lot of people that even, you know, I'm in contact with are telling me that they're taking monoatomic gold for health reasons. And some people get no results from it and all that. So can you tell us, is there any danger? What are the... Tell us all you know.
First, monoatomic just describes that you have single atoms. It does not say anything about the high-dimensional quality of the matter itself. If you have the real ormus quality, then the valence electrons, the outer electron shell, is in a physical state of annihilation. You have always in one orbit 2 electrons. Take the electron as an electromagnetic wave, which is possible according to quantum physics, and make the 2 waves in a state that annihilate each other. Then you get, with even numbers, atomic weight numbers, you get monoatomic states, and with uneven numbers you need 2 atoms to get complete annihilation, so you have atom pairs with the uneven numbers. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of a superconducting matter that is only half in this reality. You can see this in the lab. If you heat the material, I think from 70 degrees higher, it disappears. It gets transparent and it's just gone, you know, out of closed things. So this is material, it is matter that is not fully in this realm. This is why the Bible says it comes from heaven. Yeah. We always mistake the heaven for the sky. It didn't fall from the sky. It materializes out of higher dimensional realms in a 4D setup. Yeah. You know, like taking space-time sheets. Mm-hmm. It came from higher space-time sheets through wormholes into our... and this is how basically the body functions. We need these elements in the body to be able to pull in the morphogenetic fields.
But we don't get it in our food.
We create the material in the mitochondria. Mitochondria are highly transmutating devices, and they can create every atom, every element we need in the body. Mm-hmm. But with this with the monoatomic gold in that state, it happens only till age 18.
Okay, and then it stops.
And then it stops producing, and then slowly we lose the material.
That's why we age.
This is why we age.
So we need to
put it in our food.
And if we take it into our food, then we can refill the resources and we stop aging.
Wow, well, that's amazing. I mean, come on. We can stop aging.
I was tempted, and I said no.
Really?
I'm not doing it. Because there is some sense in aging.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you prefer to age.
We come here with curiosity, and life is about filling, you know, life into this sink of curiosity. And there's a limit to that.
But you're telling me that if I partake of monoatomic gold, I can stop aging? Because, you know, a lot of people now will be looking where they can get monoatomic gold, especially women. We don't want to age, so...
Yes, but why? This is fear of death.
Right.
It's the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm. But we can... So if we partake of monoatomic gold, it helps us health-wise. It has a good effect on
immune system and the brain.
Yes. We do use it in medicine every now and then for regeneration of tissue. Especially once we got intel that there's a weaponized Spanish flu set free in Ukraine, and we decided to develop something to take away the danger of the weaponized Spanish flu, and this included monoatomic gold in the formula to regenerate damaged tissue in the lung. Okay. So, you know, there are good things to do with it. I just heard stories about people age 56 going back to 35 in outer appearance. I saw pictures of a cat that regrew the tail that was cut off in a car accident.
And how about teeth?
Because you told me about teeth. That
yes, can regrow.
I heard that it works with teeth as well. But still, I have too much respect of the creation.
Must be
to mess around with timeline, not timelines in the physical sense, but with the patterns of life. You know, we are included in a rhythm, and this includes getting old. And there's so much beauty about it, you know, all the
wrinkles. They're so beautiful.
Get, you know?
Yes.
Why should we cut ourselves off this expression? It's a madness that everybody, you know, like
yeah.
Hollywood.
Right. Everybody wants to.
Like 25 till death. No, this is not life.
Okay, but if we use it for health, it's good for memory, right? I know it re-energizes your brain and memory, so that can have a good effect, right? But you told me there is a certain way to make it, and then there is a danger if it's not made that way.
Yes, this is
So,
There's a way to filter it out of seawater or water enriched with Dead Sea salt by magnetic traps. This filters out the pure quality because the magnetic trap only interacts with superconducting matter. Yeah, so 100% pure quality. But a lot of water to move because you have to up concentrate, so you take 1,000 liter, up concentrate all the almost in 1 liter, and then you need 1,000 liter of this quality to again up concentrate. So you create huge amounts of wastewater to up concentrate the quality. Okay. It takes time, it's an effort, but pure quality. Okay. Then there are people who try to go the alchemistic tradition to convert metal state gold into higher dimensional monoatomic quality.
Is that good? Or?
And there are ways to do it. A good alchemist is capable of doing it, but if something goes wrong on the way, you start getting into trouble. Because if you don't get it monoatomic, but like conglomerations of 20 to 40 atoms, this is the dangerous size, you do not manage to convert it into the almost state, then you have colloidal gold in a size that is sucked into the DNA, because DNA knows, I need that material. If it's available, I take it in. It looks at, oh God, we get gold, get it in, but the particle is too big to fit into the wiring. And then it's sucked in and it breaks it to pieces. So you kill your DNA with clusters of 20 to 40 gold atoms. Yeah. And also, if it's not monoatomic in the sense of having annihilated electron shells, it doesn't do anything.
like does nothing.
It does not
Because
work.
a lot of people do say that they took Ormus and didn't do anything, you know. So maybe it's a quality that they didn't have.
Yes.
Do you have any company, just for those who are interested, do you have anybody you trust that they do a good job?
The parts we bought for our medication development and production is the Blaubeerwald Institute in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
They do the alchemistic way, and we tested the quality by independent
Maybe we
testing
can put a link
methods.
for people, maybe
And I trust that quality. It's the only one I trust. It doesn't mean that there are not other people who do a good quality. This is within the responsibility of every single person who wants to use it, whether filter yourself or trust my judgment about Blaubeerwald Institute. It might change from now to tomorrow. You know? Maybe their technician is retiring, they get a new one that doesn't get it done. I don't know, you know.
Okay.
There's always this danger with the alchemistic way that something goes wrong. With the filtering way, it's always perfect. And we will, this is something at the moment I'm looking for funding for this. I would like to try to produce it via the transmutation line, because we know the vortical patterns exactly on the 10th of thousands of a millimeter. The motion patterns are known, the frequencies are known, the light and the sound is known, everything is known. It should be easy in the lab to produce all the prebiotics like fulvic acid and the oil fragments out of water and carbon dioxide, and also go to the higher elements. And then it should be easy to produce mana in the lab in the perfect quality.
So if you do, we will know about it because we're in contact, and I'll let the viewers know if we have anything like that. So, okay, very good. So going back to the black goo, you said there is an evil black goo, really bad black goo. Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, this is where the story got kind
Of, I don't want to say ugly, but interesting for this planet. We used to be in contact with the Earth-type black goo in the ley lines. This is state of paradise. And at that point, something happened that expelled us from paradise. And as far as we could reconstruct the history from different sources, this is always a little bit shady and difficult, and sources are sources, not more whether you trust them or not. So, but what we pull out as history is that at Atlantean times, there were alien influences on this planet that kind of introduced a black magic tradition into the Atlantean.
And we call them demons, maybe in the Bible people are...
So they were basically
communicating with etheric beings that were guiding them into a technological direction. And the aim was to open a stargate, kind of a wormhole close to planet Earth with technological devices.
Is it similar to CERN?
What they're doing now? Like they're trying to open up dimension of demons?
Yes. It is a similar event. And they managed to get the Atlanteans to do this, open a stargate, and this basically messed up the gravitational field of planet Earth and was the reason for the destruction of the Atlantean continent and also of many, many Lemurian islands at that time.
So you think that what they're doing now with CERN, we are in a danger of the same thing as Atlanteans were, because they're...
Yes. Certain things you do not do if you are sane.
Right, exactly. And these are insane.
They are completely insane. Sorry to say.
No, don't be sorry. They are.
need to be pulled out of track.
We need to expose these entities.
And I can deliver a few more arguments to that.
Sure.
So what they imported through the open Stargate was a shower of meteorites containing a substance that is very similar to the Earth-type black goo.
Okay.
It was kind of stored in a kind of oil schist covered with other stones, and these meteorites hit the Earth all over. And the black goo contained in this alien, I will call it alien black goo for the moment, hosted a completely different planetary consciousness. Like we have the memory of planet Earth with all the experience of the biosphere. This is our system, and then there was an alien system intruding our system, delivering a secondary field of planetary consciousness that was not natural in a way. It had a completely reduced chakra system. It was reduced to mental abilities, sexuality, and life force. So it was kind of uploaded with a 3-chakra system. At the beginning, we didn't know whether this is kind of just a different planetary system, natural but different to ours, like pure reptilian consciousness in a way, or whether this was intentionally designed in a technological way. Now we know. Meanwhile, the answer, it is designed. It is a technological designed quantum computer mimicking a planetary consciousness. And from the moment that this came down, we have duality on the planet, because we can decide with our kind of light body, with our biofield, whether we want to connect to the loving Mother Earth, expose ourselves to emotions. This is willing to live in a way. Or if we reduce ourselves to the mental and the sexual aspects, skip emotional, skip suffering, skip life in a way. This is the easy way. And by connecting us to this alien field of consciousness, we basically give in what in the mythology is defined as evil. Yeah, this is evil.
So this is basically a war between good and evil. And when speaking from biblical, side, because you are speaking from scientific side, our audience is like 90% Christian. So basically, love is the answer. Like Jesus spoke about love, that love is everything.
Love is in the heart.
Scientifically, you can describe it with angular relationships. Mental field is binary. Sexuality has a 90-degree field structure, so coming light from 4 directions in rectangular relationship, and the heart and all the other chakras are in a 30, 60 degree
Relationship.
So what's missing is that heart,
So,
to open up our heart.
Yes.
This is kind of the aspect that we need to activate out of free will to be able to connect to our planetary system.
Okay.
If we do not do this, we go the easy way. But the bill you get for the easy way is incredible, because this field of consciousness is extremely aggressive. If you want to know what it does with people, it is the SS during World War II was an occult organization, and they mined this alien black goo and used it as occult pieces of whatever, you know, making the end of knives out of this alien black goo or something to put on letters that they don't fly away from the table. You know, just small things integrating into daily life.
So they surrounded themselves with things from that alien black goo.
And if you just see with what kind of lack of empathy they crossed Europe, you know what this substance does with you. And when I was for the first time in contact with the substance, the same happened to me. I was not prepared to counteract the influence, so I was close to killing the hotel manager for stupid little things, you know. I didn't even know what was happening with me. I could not process the anger and rage in me, because I was completely taken over by this field. This is where we started to go into I started to go into medical development using these substances, because I wanted to cure myself from this set of consciousness. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't know how to go back to my family.
But you were in contact with that black goo?
Yeah.
I didn't even look for it. It was just a meeting among scientists, and one of them
They had it.
was in research of our history in Germany, and he was researching underground facilities of the SS, and he stumbled into a pile of these stones, and he started to find out what is it. So he extracted the oil.
Wow.
You realize this is oil shit.
They were
Let's
evil
get some-
stones.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It was by coincidence.
So that's why they were so evil, because when you watch these movies, you know, and you're watching as how they could just inhumanely kill, not feel anything for little children, and you wonder, are these human beings? What's going on? So they had this influence of that stone, the black goo.
And this
Goes back all the history of humanity.
Like Inquisition, maybe? Remember Vatican?
It's more a side story. If you look straight back to the beginnings, all the matriarchalic cults, in the center of the cult you had earth-type black goo as the holy stone. If you just research black stone and history, you come to the original system that was based on the kind of energies of Mother Earth. She is a female, with her stone projecting this consciousness into the center of the matriarchalic cult. And this was kind of early time. And then the patriarchalic cult came, and all the world religions are basically infected with the alien black goo. You have the black stone in the Kaaba in Mecca. Yeah? And they say this is a meteorite.
It's a cube, right?
The cube around, no, there's in one of the walls, on the corner of a wall, there's a black stone embedded in a silver frame.
And that's the black goo.
And this is the meteorite, according to the tradition Mohammed found in the desert.
Okay.
And I didn't test it myself. I didn't go there to check, you know, is this good or evil, you know? So I cannot tell by experience, but the tradition says it's meteorite stone. So it is alien, so it is reptilian. And so basically it's like infecting a loving religion with a source of evil. And this is a repetitive pattern. I don't have proof for this, but some people say under the Peter's Dome is a huge rock of alien black goo. Every altar in older churches in Europe carries a black altar stone. Yeah? The exorcism done by the church, by the Catholic Church, the priests coming for exorcism, they carry alien black goo with them to trigger basically the bioenergetic entities that are connected to this alien consciousness.
You know, when you enter, in Europe we have a lot of churches here, and I have visited some just to see, you know, what they're about. But you go into that building and you feel something big, something unusual, out of this world, but it's not loving.
No,
You don't feel love, you feel fear, kind of like, yeah, it's grand, but it's, if you feel, I would describe cold.
It's the consciousness field of the alien black goo amplified by the geometry of the building.
And you know what else they have here on the altars? They have skulls, human skulls. I mean, we have a lot of churches here.
This is the basic pattern. You have religions that claim to be loving, but there's always a Trojan horse inside that does exactly the opposite. Especially the church is playing even, you know, they introduce the evil, and they look people becoming sinners, and then they trade with the guilt they produce themselves. And this is evil. Sorry, you know, abusing the system of creating, bringing evil into the world and then making the people pay for sinning.
Yeah, like,
it's so
and then they introduce themselves as mediary, you know, like you have
To go through priests.
And you even can see the fracture in history. Jesus brought something loving into the world. The Byzantine Empire was on this original Christianity, built on the original Christianity.
Right.
And then the Romans, that were still under influence of black cults, realized we can kill as many Christians we want. You know, they grow faster than we can kill them. So they declared Christianity as state religion, founded the Catholic Roman Church, forced everybody to become Christian, but still destroyed the Byzantine Empire because it was, you know, on the white side while they were on the black side. And this is, you know, what we have today. We have the remains of this fake religion. And all the people with a good intention go there because they think this is the real McCoy, but it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to open up.
And it makes it difficult because I do not feel like judging
the people.
And
for
you're
their
right,
belief,
you're right.
Because there is still a huge
the amount of good things in the belief out of the good intention of the people. But the institution is poisoned. And
Yes. Yeah. And so is in many other religions. Like, you know, in Bible it says that the woman has many daughters. It's described as a whore, which is Catholic Church, and it has many daughters, right? And I was myself in one of the cults that on the outside looks beautiful. I mean, unconditional love, and we love you. But they suck you in, and then you are stuck and brainwashed, and they kind of block your vision, you know, and the truth. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So anyway, so this is the black goo, because people hear about it more and more, but some just, it was new to me. I heard you talking about it, but that's kind of very interesting what you had to say. Anything else you want to add to that, or do you think we should know about black goo? Because later on I want to go into autism and Morgellons, because you really dealt with Morgellons and autism, black magic. And
yes, one thing that's not so important for the black goo story, because the main thing you experience is this emotional impact. But there is one thing I want to add, because it's important in the other contexts. We might talk later or another time. If you look at the writings of H.P. Lovecraft, he describes the black magic cults that are explicitly worshipping these black alien stones. And there's one description of a ritual they make. They sacrifice little children, blood sacrifice, in front of the black stones. And then kind of etheric beings, demons, huge spider-like demons are coming out of the 3D projection, out of that stone, to absorb the energy released by the blood sacrifice.
Where is it happening?
This was, I think, in one of the Eastern European countries. I think he describes
Romania?
in Romania,
Okay.
which has a very long and deep black magic tradition.
Yeah.
And this idea, just to grab the idea that actually the stone is projecting the etheric form of bioforms.
Mm-hmm.
For somebody who is not into the topic, it sounds fringe, weird. If you know that actually this is exactly what a planet does, all our bioforms, the light patterns of our biology is a projection of order that is projected out of the Earth-type black goo. This is how a planet exists. And now if you take a secondary system, then it is logical that this secondary system has the ability to project kind of life forms, but they do not have any flesh, because they do not come as a whole living planetary system. They just come as an isolated quantum computer.
So again, I would describe it as demons, spirit beings.
In the mythological tradition, they are described as demons.
Mm-hmm.
They are basically holographic projections out of an alien quantum computer.
If you look at it from the scientific part.
Okay.
And what we perceived as being addressed by this quantum computer, this is our perception of black magic, surfaces, realities, interactions. We communicate with these demons. And either we say, okay, this feels like evil, or we don't want to get in touch.
Yeah, but our
Stay
elites
clean.
are the
But
government.
many people decided, wow, this is interesting. They're not connected to their heart, they are just connected to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they start to deal with them. And this is the black magic tradition, dealing with this kind of quantum computing, 3-chakra consciousness on the planet and their holographic manifestations.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going on since the deterioration from paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And many people fell for this and started to worship this system.
Mm-hmm.
And what you get from them in return is worldly power. Yeah.
Okay.
So they help you. You worship them. You supply them with your physical energy because they need an energy source. They don't have an energy source included. This is why this is a vampire system in a way. It's sucking energy from our biosphere to survive.
So basically, these are our government officials, like presidents. Like, let's say, they made a pact with the devil, basically. Okay, and they're puppets of these entities, and they just have to do things they have to do in exchange for power, money, and prestige, and all that, right? Am I correct? So do you think anybody good can make it to the government today? A lot of people think that President Trump is our savior. He's doing the best decisions, the greatest things on earth, and he's going to expose them all, and he's the best. He's a multi-millionaire, billionaire, I would say, okay? And he is a president of America. Do you think he sold his soul to the devil and for exchange? Or can a good guy make it to such position today? What do you think?
I don't want to be offending, but
I know, I don't mean to, but let's just speak the truth, facts, or whatever
I
you
don't
think.
know to whom
He sold his soul.
Okay.
Whether it's just the mob or the Israeli government or to the money or to whatever, but he doesn't look like the soul is still on board. Just from his emotional appearance, there's something extremely scary. Not scary, I don't want people to get scared, but I wouldn't leave my children with that guy.
Okay.
No, I just wouldn't. you know. And I don't know what he's up to. I don't even care what he talks, because I don't believe he's going to stick to any of his.
So you don't think anything good, any good power can get there to this
problem
position.
is not
The one in power. The problem is the concept of power. Because only the being that is about and after power will get into the top position. And this never, ever was somebody who is loving and responsible. Because people who are loving and responsible take care on 3D level. They take care of their family, of their friends, of the normal life.
We don't need that kind of hierarchical power.
No, the entire concept of hierarchy is black magic, demonic, and only the ones who fall for black magic come to the top. The entire monetary system is based on scarcity and not on love and abundance, and it is black magic.
And you also were speaking, when we were speaking about what is black magic, the hierarchy of government, a money system.
the money system, the way
We treat the biosphere in sense of question, what do we eat and how do we
Eating
treat
animals,
animals?
is that black
This
magic?
is the prolonged development of blood and fire sacrifice.
I
Yeah.
understand.
And we are worshipping basically these dark entities by the way we live, knowingly or not knowingly.
And we're gonna get into this in our second part. It's how to eat. Like
Yes,
this is just.
It's all
you know,
interconnected.
it's interconnected.
it's
yes,
all
It
interconnected.
all okay. So we can become these beautiful, loving beings right now, right here.
Yes.
But just changing a few things and think with our heart, and become these loving beings.
Yes, yes. The thing is, before you can change things, the first step is to realize what we lived in the past. And the hardest thing is when realizing what we did, I don't want to say wrong, but in service of this alien consciousness, and how much suffering we created. The good side in us gets scared from admitting what we did. And we need to be willing to kind of make our inner peace with the past. And once we have this peace with the past, then we can evolve into a better future. But the first step is kind of to realize, oh, there's a lot of guilt I have to integrate and go through and transform it into kind of transform darkness. There's nothing as powerful as transform darkness. And we need to transform the darkness we lived in the time when we had no clear sight on what is going on. Now we can have the clear sight on what is happening. We can admit, okay, that went wrong. And we can kind of harvest the spiritual growth out of this experience. Yeah, and then it's not like about being evil. It is about harvesting the growth out of the experience of having been evil. Yeah? And this is a completely different setup. And it's painful. This is the first thing, like confronting yourself with the guilt is one part, and the other part is getting used to feeling again. Because we think feeling is about joy only. Yeah? But if you want to feel, you need to be willing to feel and accept the entire spectrum. And you need to be willing to go into pain, because pain is part of life. And we need to be willing to go into the pain we created on this planet to heal it. And this is a hard step to take. It is extremely... When I came here, I had the idea of exercising this in front of public, what it means to consciously open up for the pain of this planet. And then just, letting the camera observe what it would do in that moment with my body when I open up for the pain. And this is what we need to do as a collective.
You start crying, I know.
I'm going to tear the microphones into pieces if I completely open up for what we did to this planet.
And we still don't.
You know, in the Bible at the end, there, in the Revelation, it says, I'm going to destroy those who are destroying the earth. And we are destroying the earth, so we need to wake up collectively as humans on this earth. We have one enemy. We are not enemy to each other. Muslim people are not enemy to Jews. Jews are not enemy to Muslim. We love each other. We have one common enemy. One common enemy, and that's, you know, the set up governments, the elites who are in contact with the demons, the Bible called demons, the aliens, the demons that they side with them. They allow them to do these things and make experiments on us, I think. So we will talk in a part 2 more about more subjects. We're going to come to our food and how we treat our body, about autism, about Morgellons, and about some solutions that you want to say to people, that how are we going by healing ourselves. Okay, so thank you so much for part 1, and we'll be right back.